Kailabreece.
Death brings up several points of interest. What happens after, and how do we live knowing it is inevitable? There are two positions regarding the afterlife: the supernatural, mysticism and spirituality, the metaphysical, and the natural, all fields of science, and the physical. The supernatural attitude is that a soul, a self-aware essence, transcends physical existence and then maintains individuality into another plane of physical existence, usually beside an eternal creator. These concepts are derived from self-proclaimed texts that state they are divinely inspired truths. The natural method of afterlife inquiry, called naturalism, is the belief that any level of awareness post-existence is unfalsifiable and thus concluded void from any investigated trial by the mere limits of the natural, physical, and material understanding. The supernatural stance claims legitimacy in the natural's inability to disprove its certainty. But yet they illustrate no evidence of their own beyond personal revelations, modern-day personal revelations, and circular logic verifications, like citing a sacred text as proof of itself. The topic of afterlife is almost pointless, and at best open-ended. So, in terms of what happens after, we are still at a total standstill. We don't know. Religion can't prove its claims, and science can't find the evidence to make any claims. So how are we expected to know what happens post-consciousness? At the moment, no one truly knows. So we are free to imagine whatever we want to believe. More importantly, how do we deal with this knowledge of death's looming certainty, regardless of what happens after? A great Scottish proverb says, "Be happy while you're living, for you're a long time dead." I feel this quote is critical in dealing with the normalcy of death stress. Life is short, and thus should not be taken for granted. When I was young, my father would read to me before bedtime, and I remember vividly the night that I asked him if I was going to die. He said yes. With an estranged expression, I then asked what life would be like when I was dead. My father, in a serious manner, leaned over and asked me, "What was life like before you were born?" I said I didn't know, I can't remember. He said that was most likely what death would be like. This notion of not nothingness, but the void of somethingness, didn't really terrify me. It made me realize that death truly was an everlasting slumber. This conception, whether true or false, gave me reason to live. Heck, if this was just a conscious dream in between two eternal dozing offs, then I needed to think about death a lot less and focus my energy on living. I'm not advocating being crazy, living fast and dying young. It may be for some, but not me. I'm simply advocating that death is not something to be afraid of, but rather act as a spotlight to our lives, creating emphasis and illuminating the beauty of cognizant emotions. Our awareness of our own mortality is probably one of our greatest gifts. This awareness that tomorrow may not come is the blaze under our feet and the fire within our hearts. When I die, I want to say it was because I lived. Ashley Montague said it best when she said, "The idea is to die young, as late as possible." For me, knowing my fated place in life keeps me young in the sense that I will always question the world, I will always be curious, I will always gaze endlessly into the sky because many of life's mysteries will forever be without answers. My question to my fellow intellectuals is this: what are your beliefs of the afterlife, and how do you live knowing it is inevitable? One of my personal heroes is Dr. Martin Luther King, and one of my favorite quotes of his is, "If a man hasn't discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. I say life is death. They are married. In their beauty and in their ambiguity. This is kailabreece.